everyone, I'm New Age Circle Alarm, and this is going to be Fun Facts, Episode 2. So, today's Wednesday, and I normally don't work on Wednesdays. The reason why I'm making a video today is because I put up the video yesterday. Actually, I put it up on Monday, then I took it down and re-uploaded it because it went up in 240p. But the reason why I'm doing one today is because of all the positive feedback I got on the first one. A lot of people like the idea, so I want to try to make them a little more often than just Mondays and Fridays. So, yeah. Well, today's topic of interest is going to be certifications. And look, a cop. The person in front of me is obviously speeding because they're braking. Well, that will just break them. Hopefully the cop won't have to brake them. There we go. Anyways, the certifications. If you want to get a job in the industry, there's several certifications that would be nice to have. I got some food stuck in my teeth. I apologize. One certification is at a bare minimum, if you're going to do alarm work, you should at least have an electrician's license, such as a limited low energy license. And that basically what a low energy license is anything under 300 volts is what I normally hear. I've also heard 500 volts. Now, most people know low voltage, the classification low voltage, most people know it as stuff under 120, such as 24 volt doorbell wiring or something, but other people, the people that make the certification, say that low voltage is anything under 1,000 or anything under a 500. And they say that high voltage is stuff in like the thousands or million volts range, something like that. So, I guess there's low voltage and there's really low voltage. It's kind of an inconsistent classification, I guess. So, anyway, at the very least have a limited electrician's license. Now, that's pretty general for most areas. However, specific authorities having jurisdiction may have special requirements that need to be followed as well. I do know of one state which requires... Whoa, that's bright light. I know of one state which requires that you be a master's electrician. I don't remember what state this is, but I have heard this. And another one's required not only electrical license, but specific licenses. Like there are some that have specific fire alarm licenses they have to get as well with the state. So that's the first kind of license you should get, is something electrical. Now, what's nice about getting something electrical is usually if you have to get that license, you have to take classes. And when you take the classes, you learn about electrical wiring and wiring practices and all that good stuff. And learning about wiring practices is good to know because when you're going to be running alarm wiring, it's pretty much similar to running high voltage wiring. So, knowing how to do that is a good skill. Hold on. Okay. Now, the next certification you should have is a nationally recognized certification. Now, these can be... Now, the most common one that I've heard that people get is called NICET, the National Institution for Certifying Engineering Technicians, something like that. It's some weird, really long name, but most people just call it NICET. So what NICET is a 4-level certification in fire alarm systems. And level 1 is pretty much the basics for doing installations, maintenance, and testing. Level 2 is more preferred in some areas, such as the city of Portland. And then you get to level 3 and level 4, which is more meant for system engineers and system designers. The highest you ever need if you don't want to move on to designing systems and project management, the highest you'd ever need is level 2 if you just want to be a technician that does service and installations and maintenance and inspections and stuff. So, now the way NICET works is you have to have a certain amount of work experience and you have to pass a test. Now NICET, whoa, what the hell? That's weird. Whoa. Okay, alright, no more distractions, hopefully. Anyway, you have to have work experience. Now for level 1, has to be at least 3 months of work experience. Level 2 is a year. Level 3, I believe, is 5 years. And level 4, I believe, is 10 years of minimum years of experience. Did I say years for level 1? 3 months. In case I said 3 years, I meant 3 months. I'll have to double check later. Anyway, so now here's the problem with all this experience. If you want to start in the industry to get NICET 1, not all companies will hire people who don't have any certification. And you can't really get experience without getting a job. So what you have to find is a company who is willing to hire you as an assistant so that you can get your foot in the door, get some experience, and start learning about this stuff. And it's mostly local companies that do that. Don't even attempt to try to get your foot in the door with Simplex or Siemens or any of the other national companies, because they most likely won't. However, I have heard of it happening. I know of one person who used to be an alarm collector, and I'm going to keep his name anonymous. He used to be an alarm collector, and he recently got a job as an assistant inspector with Simplex, and he's able to get his foot in the door that way. So that's good for him. Demonstrating that you know lots of stuff will also help you get a job, so that's good too. So then you get the experience, and while you're working, start studying up on the books, because there is a test, and the test is based on the codes. And the codes they use are NFPA. They don't use any AHJ codes or anything. They use the NFPA codes, which are the ones most likely to be used. So now they're going to ask you about 90 questions for the level 1 test. And there's going to be different content from all over. The 2 books that they take content out of are Article 760 of NFPA 70, which is the electrical code, and the entire NFPA 72 book. Knowing how to navigate those books, knowing what the chapters are, and basically how the books are laid out is a good thing. But it's also good to memorize certain common bits of information, such as device mounting heights, or candela settings, or volume settings, or stuff like that. Especially when you get terms like public mode and private mode. Okay? Here's the question of the day. When the NFPA book talks about mounting, or when the NFPA book talks about strobe placement, what do they mean when they say public mode versus private mode? There is a difference, okay? So, that's the question of the day. Anyway, going on. Knowing those common facts will help you with the test, because a lot of the questions are common information, but however, there are some very specific things which you probably don't know off the top of your head. These are tricky, but fortunately, you are allowed to bring copies of NFPA 70 and NFPA 72 to the test. So if you don't know something off the top of your head, you can look it up and get the correct answer that way. So, hang on a second, there's people driving weird. I don't really like to talk and drive at the same time when there's stuff going on the road. So, hang on. Be patient. Alright, I think I'm clear now. Okay, so yeah. You go take the test. It's a timed test. You got a certain number of questions. And they tell you right on the same day whether you passed the test or not. And then from there, it's a waiting game, because NICET has some really bad efficiency problems. Like, they'll tell you that you will have your results in 2 weeks. About 2 weeks of processing time. No. Usually it takes between 3 and 5 months for you to actually get your certification letter, because they are extremely disorganized and extremely slow, which is kind of bad, considering they're the most popular organization that authorities having jurisdiction recognize for certifications. So I guess after the first month or so, you should start calling them like crazy to remind them. I mean, it won't do much good to remind them like crazy, but hopefully, the hope is that you will get someone and they'll actually do it. Hopefully. It took me 4 months. I got mine at the end of August. So, I have NICET. I'm certified NICET level 1. So once you got that certification, it's still just a certification. How well you do your job is not determined by the certification, but determined by your experience and your skills. I've seen people fresh out of the certification, just got it, and they do very, very poor work. Like, you look inside the panel and you see rats' nests, squirrels. You go around the building and see like poor installations, like devices on devices, bad retrofits, stuff like that. Now, however, that may not just be laziness. Sometimes they don't have enough time to do a good job. But there is always the possibility that they did have enough time to do a good job, but they chose not to, so they could get more jobs done in a day or something, even though they were given enough time. So, and then I've also seen the same kinds of people who do exceptionally great jobs with their wiring. Like, I know of one collector who's trying to get into the industry, and he wired up a panel and took some pictures of the inside, a panel in his collection, and his wiring was done better than some of the professionals I see. So, congratulations to him, and I'm going to keep him anonymous, just like I did with the other person. So, yeah. But in conclusion, though, get electrical licensing and alarm certification, probably NICET. There are other certification programs out there, such as ASIS, which is the American Society of Intrusion System. I don't remember exactly. ASIS is one, but they don't exactly deal with fire alarm. Mostly just deal with alarm systems, mostly security systems, though. And another one to look at is IMSA. I don't remember what it means, but IMSA is not very popular, and I didn't go for it. It's kind of like the choice between taking the SAT and the ACT. NICET's like the SAT, and IMSA is like the ACT, or people take the SAT. So, anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. And the answer to the previous episode's question of the day, which was, are you allowed to run fire alarm wiring and crack? Okay. Question of the day, which is, are you allowed to run fire alarm wiring and low voltage wiring? Holy crap. Are you allowed to run fire alarm wiring and high voltage wiring inside the same conduit? That was the question of the day. The answer is no. You are not allowed to do that. Reason being is because high voltage wiring, if it were to get damaged, it can do some stuff to the alarm circuit you wouldn't want. Period. Also, the other issue is... Crap. Hold on. The other issue is interference. High voltage wiring generates what's called electromagnetic interference, and you may know this as phantom voltage. One way you can test for phantom voltage is if you take an extension cord with a ground wire and plug it into an ungrounded outlet, and then put a voltmeter between the 120 volt hot terminal and the ground. You'll get a voltage reading, about 51 volts or so, but it has no amps. That's phantom voltage generated by EMF. So, EMF can cause interference in alarm systems, so that's why it's bad to do. So, and also regulatory codes. And anyway, so, well, I've just arrived in Augusta at my class, so I need to go. But everybody have a great day, and stay tuned for episode 3 on Friday.